Just be authentic. Be yourself. How many times have you heard that advice as a leader? But here's the paradox. What happens when who you are naturally isn't what your team needs in a critical moment? Hi entrepreneurs, I'm Vicky Brown, and you're in the right place if you want to engage your team, boost your business, and grow your leadership muscle. I remember when I first started scaling my business. By nature, I'm someone who likes to process information before making decisions. I prefer having all the facts lined up before moving forward. But there I was, facing a situation where my team needed me to make a quick call on a client issue with limited information. They were looking at me for decisive leadership while I was internally wanting more time to analyze. That tension between my authentic self and what my role demanded is exactly what we're talking about today. Now, let's get something straight about authenticity in leadership. It's not about always sharing everything that crosses your mind or being emotionally unfiltered. Real authenticity is about congruence, ensuring your actions align with your core values and purpose, even when you have to stretch beyond your comfort zone. Your leadership style should reflect who you're growing into, not just who you've always been. Leadership is a journey of evolution. The authentic you of today should be more developed than the authentic you of 5 years ago. Think about how you've changed as a business owner and as a person, the experiences you've had, the mistakes you made, the successes you've celebrated. All of these have shaped and refined who you are. Your authenticity isn't static. It's dynamic and constantly evolving as you learn and grow. Clinging to an outdated version of yourself, this is just how I am, can actually be the most inauthentic thing you can do as a leader because it denies your capacity for growth. True authenticity acknowledges that you're a work in progress and that your leadership identity expands with each challenge that you face. When entrepreneurs talk about being authentic leaders, they often miss the crucial element of growth. They confuse authenticity with consistency, thinking they need to show up the same way all the time to be real. But authentic leadership isn't about being unchanging. It's about intentional evolution that stays true to your core values while you develop new capabilities. The leader who micromanaged their first employee because that's what felt comfortable, but now empowers their team of 20 through clear expectations and trust, they haven't become less authentic, they've become more evolved as a leader. The most authentic version of you as a leader isn't your past. It's the version that integrates everything you've learned, and it continues to develop in response to your growing business and team requirements. Just think about how you've changed as a business owner and as a person. The experiences you've had, the mistakes you've made, the successes you've celebrated. All of these have shaped and refined who you are. Your authenticity isn't static. It's dynamic and constantly evolving as you learn and grow. As business owners, we wear multiple hats every day. One moment, you're the visionary plotting long-term strategy, and the next, you're putting out urgent fires. And then you're switching to coach mode with an employee who needs guidance. Each of these roles might require a different energy or approach. And the challenge is adapting without losing your center. That's the balance that we're striving for. Maybe you're naturally conflict avoidant. You hate confrontation and would rather keep things pleasant. But as a leader, you can't sidestep difficult conversations and still be effective. Having that performance discussion with an underperforming team member, it isn't about betraying your authentic self. It's about expanding your range as a leader while honoring your values of respect and fairness. And self-awareness is the critical first step in navigating the paradox. You need to know your strengths, your triggers, your blind spots. What situations make you uncomfortable? Where do you naturally excel? When are you most likely to fall back on habits that might not serve your team? Understanding yourself deeply is essential, but it's just the starting point. Now, let's address a common misconception. Adaptability is not being inauthentic. Leaders who adjust their communication style or tone or approach based on the situation, they aren't being fake. They're demonstrating emotional intelligence. Think of it as code switching. Your core values remain consistent, but how you express them might change depending on the audience and your objective. Sometimes your team needs your calm, measured side. Other times, they need your passionate, energetic side. Both can be authentic expressions of who you really are. And this paradox shows up in countless everyday leadership moments. You want to be seen as approachable and one of the team, but you also need to maintain the authority to make tough calls that not everyone's going to like. You might feel uncertain about a strategic direction, but your team needs you to project confidence while you work through the ambiguity. Perhaps you're naturally task-oriented and direct, but you're learning that some team members need more empathy and context to perform at their best work. So, how do you navigate this tension? Well, first, anchor yourself in your values. When you're clear on your core principles, they become your compass in difficult situations, and that creates consistency, even when your approach varies. Second, practice intentional expression. In each situation, consciously choose the response that best serves your team while staying aligned with your purpose. Ask yourself, what does this moment call for? Third, commit to regular self-reflection. After important meetings or decisions, take some time to assess. Did I show up as the leader my team needed? Was I true to my values? What would I do differently next time? And finally, think about a feedback loop. Select trusted team members or peers or mentors who can give you honest input about your leadership effectiveness and your blind spots. Remember, authenticity isn't about comfort. It's about congruence. You can be real and still be responsible. Being a leader means you expand your range, not abandon your identity. The most authentic leaders aren't one-dimensional. They have depth and range. They know when to dial up different aspects of themselves to meet the moment, all while staying true to their core values. So let me encourage you to reflect. Where have you let your comfort zone limit your leadership? What aspects of your leadership style might benefit from stretching while still honoring who you are at your core? The paradox of authenticity isn't about choosing between being yourself or being an effective leader. It's about expanding your definition of who you are so you can be both. If you found this information helpful, please subscribe and share. And remember, your inspired leadership is the secret sauce to having a high-performance team and a wildly successful business you'll love. I'll see you next time on Leader's Journey.